This is the Georgia Farm Monitor. Since 1966, your source for state and national agribusiness news, and features for farmers and consumers about Georgia's #1 industry, agriculture. The Georgia Farm Monitor is produced by the state's largest general farm organization, the Georgia Farm Bureau. Now, here are your hosts, Ray DeLessio and Kenny Burgamy.
Well, hi there. Whether you're up early at the crack of dawn watching us or binge watching on the DVR, maybe you're even taking a break from work and watching the show online. Doesn't matter. We are just thankful that you chose to spend time with us. Welcome to our home, the Georgia Farm Monitor, everybody. I'm Ray DeLessio.
And I'm Kenny Burgamy. If you're a regular to the show, then you know this is where we tell you what's coming up on the show. So here goes. An important alert for backyard poultry growers, what the state is mandating you do in order to protect yourself against avian influenza.
Also on the show, the many uses of kale and why a popular Georgia-based restaurant decided to add it to the menu.
And then later, with cotton prices on the steady decline, what relief, if any, will growers see in the coming years? We'll hear from some of the state's leading experts on that subject. These stories and more starting right now on the Georgia Farm Monitor.
Well, as you know, many Georgians depend on a well to provide their households with water. And even though well water is very safe, it's recommended that you test that water on a regular basis. And that's where your local extension agent comes into play. The Monitor's Mark Wildman has the story.
Every day we work in the kitchen using water to cook with and, of course, to make that all-important coffee in the morning without thinking about water quality. But for those using well water, it is important to have your water tested. Forsyth County Extension Agent Heather Kolich works to educate citizens about the importance of proper testing.
Well, once a year it's recommended that you have a basic minerals test, a microbial test, a test for nitrates, and a test for turbidity and color.
Anyone with a well should make sure they take time to have a basic water test.
It tests for 16 different metals that may be dissolved into your water. It tests for pH and hardness as well. We need to take that test after the water has been off for at least 6 hours, but not more than 12 hours. So a good time to do that is first thing in the morning when you get up. You're just going to take a 4-ounce bottle, which you can come by your local extension office and pick up a bottle, or you can use any clean glass or plastic bottle with a lid that you have in the house, and put that under the faucet. And under your cold water faucet, slowly fill it with that fresh water that hasn't been run for at least 6 hours.
If you have not had your well water tested for at least 3 years, UGA recommends doing an expanded basic test,
which has the 16 minerals, the hardness, the pH, but it also includes 3 other tests that are going to be good diagnostic tools. So that takes 500 milliliters to do that test.
Georgia has experienced periods of very heavy rainfall, and because of that rain, certain contaminants like E. coli and other environmental bacteria can affect well water. UGA has testing kits that are available for purchase at your local extension office. This test comes with detailed instructions and a prepaid shipping label.
You do need to clean your faucet before you take that test. Use undiluted chlorine bleach to clean that faucet outside, inside, wipe it off really good, and then run your water, your cold water, for at least 3 minutes before you put the vial under there. Then you're going to break the seal, take the lid off, and being very careful not to touch anything inside the vial, slowly fill it with cold water from the tap. There's a stabilizing powder inside the vial that you need to make sure you leave in there. And put your date and time on the top, and then overnight that to the lab, and they will test that for the microbes.
Another advanced test that is available for purchase at your local extension office is a test for radon, which can be a source of contamination in many counties.
Radon actually comes with 2 vials. You're going to pull 2 samples on that. That is primarily for the upper Piedmont area where we have crystalline aquifers. That can be a source of radon contamination in the water. And the instructions for that are in the box. That is also overnighted straight to the lab.
Even though it seems like a lot of work, it is not. Results are emailed back to citizens within 7 to 10 days, and of course, extension agents are available to answer any questions or concerns. In Forsyth County, I'm Mark Wildman for the Georgia Farm Monitor.
All right, Mark, thank you very much, sir. Now, in other news, Georgia State veterinarian Dr. Robert Cobb is urging owners of backyard and pastured poultry to move their flocks inside. This comes after a January 4th confirmation of avian influenza in Indiana. Now, of course, no human infections have been associated with avian flu, but Dr. Cobb says that all poultry with outside access must be moved into biosecure housing until further notice. He added if that's not possible, the Georgia Department of Agriculture should be notified immediately.
A new survey is now being conducted by AFBF. They're asking for farmers to share their experiences with 10 agricultural department programs. The survey focuses on programs from the Farm Service Agency, the Natural Resources Conservation Service, and Rural Development. Farm Bureau's Lisa Benson says through the survey, farmers have the opportunity to help improve USDA programs.
Our goal here is to learn really what people's experiences are, whether they're good, bad, or ugly. We want it to be honest feedback. And what's wonderful is USDA is asking us for this feedback. They really want to learn how to improve and strengthen their programs. We'll compile all the results into a final report, and we'll also create a condensed bullet list for each of the USDA program leads, specifically on their programs, what we heard back from farmers and ranchers, and suggestions to help improve their programs, or things that really work well that we suggest they support more in the coming years.
Benson says all farmers and ranchers, not just Farm Bureau members, are encouraged to take that survey, which takes about 10 minutes to complete. You can find the survey online at usdaprograms.questionpro.com. It's never too early to be thinking about spring gardening and updates to your landscapes. That's why recently the Monitor made the trip to the largest gardening event during the coldest months of the year, Wintergreen 2016, held annually in Gwinnett County. It is billed as Georgia's premier horticultural showcase. The event sponsor, the Georgia Green Industry Association, and its executive director, Chris Butts, told me that this is the place to learn about the latest in horticulture and prepare for the upcoming spring and summer landscaping season.
It is. Our members are actually the mechanism for putting on the show. It's the market we create so that they have a market to show their products and their wares to attendees from the landscape business, to other growers. A lot of them do business with the other people here. So it's a great opportunity to bring them together. It's the last show in this area. January and February is kind of trade show time. So it's the last time for a lot of them to get together and find those plants that they need for their spring.
Commodity specialist Brandon Ashley represented the Georgia Farm Bureau at the trade show. He said it's always a chance to reach out to other industry groups.
To get out to these other industry groups and have a relationship with the people that are in the kind of our friends in the ag industry, and to be a part of their association and meet their members and kind of share what Farm Bureau does to them, and they can share what they do with us.
One of the vendors at this year's show said it's his first time attending and believes it will be helpful in supplying good information about his pecan nursery operations.
Often we attend the Georgia Pecan Grower Show, Southeastern Grower Show, where we have all of the commercial growers, but as a wholesale nursery provider, we saw the GGIA conference as an opportunity for us to meet the retail nurseries, whom we search Google and other listings and look for pecan trees out there, and we saw the demand is there and we couldn't really find the supply, so we've got a lot of trees, bare root and container grown, and so we're here not only to talk to the landscapers for the homeowners, but also the retail nurseries. With the trees having roughly a 4 to 5 year non-production period, we need to start planting now, and Georgia is the biggest producers of pecans in the United States, so it is a tremendous opportunity here, and there's a lot of expansion taking place right now.
We have two legendary plantsmen, one Coach Vince Dooley that everybody knows. If you're in the industry, everybody knows Dr. Mike Durr. They lead a tour around the show in which they stop and pick out and highlight certain plants that they like or certain products that they like. It's really a one-of-a-kind thing, and we're blessed to have those guys here in Georgia do so much for our industry.
If you've never attended, go ahead and mark your calendar for next January and Wintergreen 2017. Up next on the Farm Monitor, we say goodbye to an old friend and hello to something some say is a whole lot tastier. The reasons behind Chick-fil-A's decision to add kale to the menu and how its use continues to grow in popularity. Stay tuned. The Georgia Farm Monitor continues after this.
not to bring my phone in here because they think it's a chew toy.
Up since 5 a.m. and guarding her phone, Ashton Daniel has a morning full of chores, namely feeding and watering these hungry calves and picking their pens. The UT senior is an animal science major with the College of Agricultural Sciences and Natural Resources, or CASNR, and this is academic work for her. She's interning at the UT AgResearch's Little River unit.
But this internship has been great because I've been able to shadow a beef producer and work on a beef farm, and now I'm on a dairy farm. It's nice to finally see a lot of my classroom knowledge be applied versus just in a textbook. So I've really enjoyed it.
Ashton's plans include medical service in the military, and she believes her hands-on training is preparing her well. That goes for a number of CASNR majors, where in many instances the best way to learn about agriculture is to experience it firsthand. CASNR's enrollment is now over 1,500 students, and the number of undergraduates is up 86% since 2007. That includes 10 different majors and more than 30 areas you can study. Dr. John Steyer with CASNR says the department wants to see students having an impact on our society while still in school.
Almost all of our students have multiple chances to have hands-on learning experiences both on campus and especially off campus. These include things such as internships both during school and in the summer. They'll include laboratory experiences.
And sometimes those labs are outdoors, like this Loudoun County cornfield this past fall. The producer allowed graduate students like Casey Sullivan to use a recycled material as fertilizer and then measure yields based on application rates.
Yeah, this is definitely my first go at really designing a large-scale experiment, and this is one of 2 projects I have going on for my master's, so it definitely helped me in as far as like statistical design for a project.
Now the students are harvesting the corn from that field in their lab and putting together their final results. In the future, we'll need more scientists, and they'll be well trained if agriculture is something they can put their hands on. This is Charles Denny reporting.
Well, the GFB Commodities and Marketing Department has a new face. He's Nathan Dupree, a recent graduate of ABAC with a Bachelor of Science in Diversified Agriculture. His primary responsibility at Georgia Farm Bureau will be buying and selling grains for GFB members and working with GFB programs related to feed grains. A native of Chatsworth, Georgia, Nathan says he's excited about what the future here will hold for him.
I'm still learning the ropes. I started here, December 21st. And from that point, though, I've been able to learn a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff so far, but I'm really looking forward to being able to put a face behind some of the names of the farmers and making those initial contacts and things like that. Some producers may not have a buyer for their corn or whatever commodity they may have harvested at that time, but we have a network of buyers and producers, and so we're able to, link those two together a lot easier than they may be able to do on their own.
Well, not long ago, kale was considered kind of that throwaway item. Garnish a plate or two, then just chuck it in the trash when you're done, right? Not the case anymore. The once ignored little greenery is now a superfood. And as it turns out, it's also a really good viable crop for Georgia farmers who may be looking for another option. Truth is, just about every recipe site or cookbook these days has a way to use kale as its main ingredient. I mean, just look at some of this stuff. Kale chips, kale flatbread, kale soup, kale popsicles for crying out loud. And the many benefits of kale, so popular, it's now a featured item on the menu of a national fast food chain. Just last month, Chick-fil-A launched their Super Side, a new kale and broccolini salad. The new superfood item, a collaboration with renowned Atlanta-based chef Ford Fry.
We decided that it's important for us to maintain relevancy within the menu, and that means having to make tough decisions about taking some items off in order to create space for new. And that's exactly what happened with the coleslaw. Back in my early days, from a fine dining perspective, kale was in the kitchen, but it was one of those leaves that you put on the plate to give a little bit of color and garnish your entree. Here today we found a way within our kitchens to chop it fresh, mix in that fresh cut broccolini, toss it with our maple vinaigrette, and then serve it as a small or large side. We love the fiber content, we love the vitamins, we love the freshness, and really it gives our consumers who are looking for a healthy alternative to come in and get our meal at Chick-fil-A and feel good about the new side.
Our kale comes in pre-chopped. We buy it off the West Coast, and we bring that in twice a week into our local produce DCs, and we make deliveries out almost daily to our restaurants with that kale. We have met with Ag Commissioner Mr. Black on a few occasions, and just last year we began an initiative within supply chain to better understand locally grown produce. And in fact, we did start buying some items from a grower in Tifton, Georgia.
And one could say kale is now under the microscope in Tifton. UGA horticulturist Tim Coulong has become somewhat of an expert on the subject, studying the many different varieties of kale. According to Tim, he sees a time in the not-so-distant future when kale could have a major impact for the state's producers.
Probably in the last, I'd say, 5 to 8 years, it's really grown tremendously, and started off more in urban areas with chefs pushing new items on their menus, and then that's kind of grown to go to the rest of the country. I think in discussing with seed companies and growers, demand was skyrocketed almost for over a very brief period of time, and now it's starting to level off. Still much more acreage than was ever grown in the past, and so I think it'll be probably in line with some of the other greens that we grow when things kind of settle down and so forth. But still, Georgia traditionally has been the #1 brassica green state. That's turnips, your mustards, and so forth in the country. And so if we can pick up a few thousand acres of kale, that's going to help our farm economy overall.
All right, and speaking of Chick-fil-A, how about a moment of silence for our dearly beloved coleslaw, which is no longer with us. Yes, you will be missed by some, including me. 49 years, my friend. It was a good run. But hey, not all is lost. The secret recipe, no longer a secret, and it's now available to you, the consumer. Just log on to the web address you see there. That's gfb.org/coleslaw. Give it a try, see if it tastes the same, and maybe hit us up on Facebook to give us your feedback. And just a reminder, if you missed any part of the story or others on today's program, you can still see them in their entirety at our YouTube channel. That is the Georgia Farm Monitor. Once there, you can browse our archives of stories dating as far back as 2009.
And once you're done watching all those informative stories, keep clicking and like the Georgia Farm Monitor Facebook page that we've set up for you. If you have a story idea or if you just want to leave us a comment or suggestion, feel free to send us a message either on Facebook or at the address listed there below. It is news@farm-monitor.com. Time for our final break. When we come back, can a new marketing strategy help turn things around for the cotton industry? You decide when the Georgia Farm Monitor continues.
There is a great distance between the heavens above and the earth below. Or is there? When the U.S. Department of Agriculture's Natural Resources Conservation Service sought a spokesperson for their Healthy Soils campaign, they thought of Dr. Laura Danley, curator of the Griffith Observatory in Los Angeles.
Studying Earth is just like studying the planets. Earth is a planet, and it's the most amazing planet we know. It's the only one we know that has life on it. So it's a natural for me to want to talk about Earth and share some important messages with people about how we can make Earth healthier.
What if I told you a secret that might just help us meet those challenges? And what if I told you the secret lies not in the stars, but in the soil?
This new web video promotes practices that farmers can use to protect and enhance their soils. Techniques such as conservation tillage, crop rotation, and cover crops can help build up organic matter in soils.
Microbes are amazing. Packaged in that little tiny space, all the functions of life. Ingestion and digestion of energy, growth. It's the same processes going on inside of microbes that are going on inside of us.
Promoting microbial activity in soil can lead to better crops, less erosion and chemical use, and higher profits.
Soil health is going to give you higher yields, period. And if we don't protect these few inches of topsoil we got left, that's it. We're done.
Dr. Danley says soils and science are a perfect fit.
Everything on Earth came from out there. Earth pulled all of those ingredients that are throughout the cosmos together in one place and in such a way that the chemistry for life was possible. So when we study the way in which plants and soils and microbes work together, we're really just studying another aspect of the universe. Long live the soil. Long live planet Earth.
In Los Angeles, California, for the U.S. Department of Agriculture, I'm Pat O'Leary.
Well, finally today, with cotton prices on the decline, production in the United States is down more than 20% from 2014.
It's a problem both state and national lawmakers are well aware of as they try and find a short-term solution. Damon Jones attended the Georgia Cotton Commission annual meeting and has a story.
It's been a rough few years for cotton growers across the state as prices have dropped to around 60 cents per pound, nearly a quarter of the 2011 price. And that was a major concern for those attending this year's annual meeting in Tifton, where they heard from market experts about the reason for declining value and when they can expect things to turn around.
There seems to be floors underneath the market too, due to the tightness in the rest of the world, ex-China. So I think there is some optimism to be had as long as the global economies can stabilize. I think we can see some of the cycle of demand coming back to cotton.
One of the major efforts is to change up the marketing strategy for cotton. Not only are they changing the slogan for the brand, but also focusing more on social media to attract the younger crowd, as well as getting their story out to the public.
The efforts of Cotton Incorporated in making awareness of cotton fiber and the uses of cotton fiber are certainly one of the bright spots that the growers have got to look forward to.
All that being said, prices aren't going to rebound overnight, which is why having a solid strategy before planting season is more important than ever.
And also have a good marketing plan going into the year, either partnering with a cooperative or at least someone who can help them on the marketing plan and executing that plan.
As far as short-term solutions, the National Cotton Council in Washington is hoping to get producers some financial assistance from the government by having the crop protected under the new Farm Bill.
Cottonseed is another oilseed, and so we think USDA should designate cottonseed as an oilseed, therefore making it eligible for either the agricultural risk coverage or the price loss coverage programs that are in the 2014 Farm Bill. We believe the current Farm Bill, as well as previous versions, have always given USDA the authority to make such a designation. So we're continuing to pursue that effort with USDA, as well as trying to get our allies in Congress engaged as well.
And this request is gaining some steam on Capitol Hill, as a number of legislators have already given it their full support.
There was a House letter that was sent in early December to USDA asking for this designation. It was signed by 100 members of the House of Representatives. We had a similar letter that was sent in early January from the Senate, signed by 19 senators. So we think we've demonstrated very broad political support for this.
As for what the growers can do to help the cause,
we urge producers and others involved in the industry to continue to make those contacts with their representatives and continue to emphasize and highlight the current conditions that the cotton industry is facing and why some additional economic assistance is needed.
Reporting from Tifton, I'm Damon Jones for the Georgia Farm Monitor.
All right, Damon, very nice job. Thank you very much. That is going to do it for this week's edition of the Georgia Farm Monitor.
Here's a reminder for all the latest ag info regarding food, great recipes, and what's happening down on the farm. Be sure and check out our Twitter, Facebook, and Pinterest pages. You'll stay informed and see what's up in the world of farming and the Farm Monitor show.
It's been fun. Take care. We'll see you next week right here on the Georgia Farm Monitor.
Have a terrific week, everybody.